Welcome to this edition of Bonehead of the Week. Gabe, we got a lot of boneheads this week, but
every week we have a lot of boneheads.
Well, you know, with these MAGA Republicans, there's no need to think that we're going to have a low inventory of fucking morons.
Oh, yeah.
But this week, one really worked its way out front. He really, and I mean so much so that they even had like a kind of a small parade for him. To a courtroom. It was pretty cool. I don't want to give it away, but but this week our boneheads, again, we had three of them. Senator Marco Rubio, which again, he's always a bonehead.
Always.
And then we have Mehmet Oz. Dr. Oz is a fucking idiot. Of course, he's a bonehead. And then Scabby Steve Bannon, who has been charged with six crimes in the state of New York, including money laundering and deep fraud, scheming to defraud, is part of those 6 counts. And he was shown yesterday to be surrendering to the prosecutors. And the best part is normally when someone surrenders like that, they don't perp walk them. Normally, but they were like, no, we're gonna perp walk your ass, dummy. And they did the perp walk, and it was, I mean,
everyone was waiting like it was a premiere of a Hollywood film. You've got the Velvet Row, people chanting and cheering, obviously because they hate him. But the crowd there, you know, inside and outside of the building, they were dedicated fans. Fans that hate his fucking guts.
Oh, that lady outside, like I said, she deserves flowers.
Oh, yeah. No, she is the modern day saint.
Oh, she is beautiful, beautiful. And I think I found her on Twitter. So I'm going to try to see if we can get her to come here so we can thank her. I'd like to thank her personally is what I'd like to do for her.
I'd also like to know,
to democracy.
You know, which kind of arraignments or event she's going to next. Just to give her some moral support.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know, it sounds like she does events all the time. She's constantly fighting for our democracy, which is good because we need people like her in the fight, especially people who are spicy and salty, because we need to really hammer these son of a bitches, as we see with these boneheads this week.
Yeah.
Why did Senator Marco Rubio make it on our list?
That is what was the clip that I sent you this week?
I have no idea. You know, Marco Rubio said some dumb shit this week. So
what was it? There was something, because this was I feel like this was an early week thing that happened.
It is early. It was earlier on in the week. It is where he talked about storage.
Oh,
storage
right.
issue,
Yeah. When he was on Fox and Friends.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, so that was that was him. Do you have the clip or do you need it?
He's also I'm pulling up clips here, but he's also if you want to find that storage clip, he was also very upset about the leaks. So if you'll find the storage clip, I'll play the clip here of the leaks here, because he was on Fox and Friends and he thinks it's egregious.
Yeah.
You know, forget the crimes committed.
Well, they don't care about the crimes.
When you steal top secret documents. What he's upset about is people are leaking that this former president committed crimes. It's ridiculous that you would leak that he committed crime.
How dare they?
That's what we should be outraged about.
How dare they inform the public about the extent, not the details specifically, but how dare these law enforcement agencies say, like, hey, press, you might want to know that Donald Trump had these nuclear documents at his kind of disposal in his private residence at Mar-a-Lago, not under lock and key in some facility that was supposed to, like a SCIF or somewhere it's supposed to be, or, protected by the government. It was just in a desk. Crazy.
Meh. Let's listen to a little Marco here try to justify how the leaks are worse than the crimes committed.
No, you can understand why, when we first heard about this stuff, we heard, well, maybe it's things like a note from Kim Jong-un to President Trump that he wanted to
Juicy trying really hard here, by the way.
Yeah.
If true, this Washington Post report, highly classified documents at Mar-a-Lago that only a cabinet level officer or higher could even look at. That doesn't seem like the kind of thing you should have in your post-presidential desk drawer.
Steve Ducey really he's trying so hard.
He's like, I don't want to be a total asshole to you right now, but I'm just going to ask you the question that I think is a rational, reasonable question that most people wonder, which is, why did he have these documents that are only available to be seen and viewed and held by people of cabinet level status or other people like them that have been given access, right? Like, why did he have them?
Meanwhile, in his desk drawer of all places.
Brian Kilmeade over here is like, fuck.
Oh, God. Ducey, enough of the half-ass journalism. Enough of the half-ass
journalism. Because this is now, week 2 or so that Ducey has now been asking he's not even complicated questions. He's just like, why did he have these documents? And it seems like he has been disproved, because
he asked Jared Kushner, he's asked Marco Rubio, and I mean, so he's not out of line here. He's not doing his job.
It's the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum basic question to be like.
He's just edging up to bare minimum.
He's like, look, why did he have the stuff?
Bare minimum should be, why are you still supporting a person who is alleged to have stole our government's top secret documents and stored them in a place where anyone could get to them? And you're on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Tell us, Senator, you being on how are you still supporting this person? That should be the fucking question. But let's see what Marco's answer is here about the crimes that are committed. Let's listen.
Well, let's break this down. First of all, again, we really don't know, because let's go back.
No, we do know.
Yeah,
okay? We do know.
And understand that all of this information is coming from one side and one place.
Yep. It sure is. Because they had to go take the top secret documents that he stole. That's why it's coming from one place called the Department of, what the hell is that department called?
Justice.
Yeah, Justice. Is that how you say it? Okay.
That's how the Europeans say it.
Oh, okay.
They say Department of Justice.
Justice.
And that is sources with knowledge of the investigation. Well, who are the sources with knowledge of the investigation?
The people who are investigating.
The Justice Department,
yes.
And they are leaking to the media.
Not only that.
Oh, my God. This
but
fucking guy. I can't.
Who are the sources? Donald Trump is the fucking source.
Right. He's the reason why we know this.
Anytime the DOJ says, hey, look, we've got this stuff. We don't want to release it. Can you just comply? And he goes, no, I'm not going to comply.
Yeah,
and then it was this back and forth 20-month thing. And then now Donald Trump, from August 8th, from the fucking get-go, he goes, this is an obstruction of my own liberties and freedom and privacy. Like they're coming into my home and they're raiding and they're going through Melania's stuff and they're going through my son Barron, all of this stuff where it's like, if you had just done what you're supposed to do, which is don't steal the documents,
right?
Then you wouldn't have had the FBI come into your home. And then if you didn't lie and steal and hide them over a 20-month period, they wouldn't have had to come in with a search warrant.
Yeah, they wouldn't be investigating for obstruction.
Right.
But Marco Rubio thinks that it's not about obstruction. It's a storage issue. Let's listen.
This is really at its core a storage argument that they're making, right? They're arguing there are documents there. They don't deny that he should have access to those documents. What they deny is that they were not properly stored.
That's not at all what they're saying. Not even close. Even the Department of Justice in their appeal this morning is saying, look, these aren't his documents. It's not his shit. Right. It's our shit. It's the government shit. They're not his. He is not documents that he could have no, he is not supposed to have these documents.
Right.
That at the heart of it is the actual issue here, is that he stole our shit.
And let's remember that when you're the president, you are a servant of the people. You serve the people
in the
of
office
the United States. Exactly. And then when you leave that office, another person comes in and they serve the people. And when you leave, you don't serve the people. You do, you would hope that you would try to do some good, but Donald Trump is fucking just blowing this shit to pieces and burning it down. The guy left with documents, denied he had the documents, was shown that he had the documents, admitted that he had the documents. Then he said, I declassified the documents. Meanwhile, everyone's like, it doesn't work that way. You cannot declassify these. A former president cannot just retrospectively say, hey, or retroactively just say, you know what?
I thought about it.
Yeah, I considered it.
I thought it when I was president, so it is.
I'm gonna post it on Truth Social. And now it is the law of the land.
It's really stupid. And Marco Rubio's really fucking stupid. And let me tell you, if you think Marco Rubio is a bonehead and you live in Florida, there's something you can do about it. Even if you don't live in Florida, there's something you can do about it. Val Demings, man, she is coming up in this race. She's going to kick his ass in Florida, I think. She may help pull Charlie Crist, and Charlie Crist may help pull her over the line in Florida. Have some fucking common sense brought back to Florida instead of this fascist state blueprint that they have going on there. Speaking of elections and states, Dr. Oz is trying his best to look like he's from Pennsylvania. He's
been unsuccessful at every point, down the road.
Well, I mean, he's like a fish out of water here. Because not only is he not from Pennsylvania, it doesn't even appear that he's from Pennsylvania. And really, honestly, he's lying his ass off this morning on Fox News. Now, I don't know exactly why he's on our Bonehead, but he was on Fox News this morning. Here's a clip from him talking about how just lying to Pennsylvanians.
We put him on this week's Bonehead for the physical comment.
The physical?
Yeah.
Which
that
one?
was the the 15 minutes for a physical.
Oh yeah. Get that clip for me, because that's an old clip from a while back. But this is a brand new, fresh clip brought to you by the Tony Michaels podcast. This one's fresh right off the presses.
Ooh.
From New Jersey straight to Pennsylvania. Let's listen.
As the brace tightens dramatically, which it is doing. And
no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not tightening. No, that's not true. You're a fucking idiot. It's not tightening. It's getting closer to election time, if that's what you mean. But it's not tightening.
People begin to understand how radical he really is.
Okay. The guy wears a hoodie. All right.
Also, the guy he's like, what, 6'8"?
Right.
Some shit like that. Which, if I was that tall and I was that big, I would probably have a hard time finding a suit, especially in that quantity, to be like, look, I'll wear the suit when you guys elect me.
Yeah, but do you think people in Pennsylvania that are going to
vote,
are you going to convince them that wearing a hoodie, a Carhartt hoodie, is radical? Are you fucking shitting me? You're talking about the heartbeat of fucking USA.
Right.
This is ridiculous. That the Rust Belt that think that these people are going to accuse John Fetterman of being a radical because he wears a hoodie.
Like, God forbid you wear the brand for the clothing that we wear and our uniforms on our blue collar jobs. Fuck you, man. How dare you?
You radical. Listen, it gets better.
The independent vote is shifting in my direction.
No, it's not.
This election will be won.
No,
I'm optimistic.
She's even like, I don't believe you.
Yeah. I don't know what to say here.
I don't know what you're talking about. That is not the truth. Yeah. Let's listen.
Confident that we will prevail in November. We got the right ideas at the right time, and he's unable to articulate a defense for what he likes to do, which is to tweet out ideas that sound good to him at the time, but make no sense and hurt the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And
isn't this the guy who tweeted the video about him going to a grocery store and getting crudité?
Yeah.
Isn't that the same guy?
Yeah.
I think it's the same guy, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not a thing.
What I will say is Dr. Oz is clearly butthurt because every time that Oz does something, Fetterman and his team post something that ends up going viral. And it's pretty funny, right? When he talked about being from South Florida, they released a video of just like zooming in on Google Maps and then going below South Florida and like, oh, look, this is where he's from, New Jersey. So
you mean South Philly?
Yeah, South Philly. Yeah.
You said South Florida.
Oh, did I say this? Oh,
you said South Florida.
I'm mixing up.
People in Pennsylvania are now going to be anti-Gabe Sanchez.
Oh, no.
They're like, look here, Gabe. You better put your Carhartt hoodie on, bitch.
This is
you're a radical, Gabe.
This is what happens when I get little sleep and we're talking about Republican boneheads,
I know. Well,
I apologize. I meant New Jersey.
What's happening is you're confusing Republicans in Florida for Republicans in Pennsylvania because they
share the same fascist ideologies.
Right. Well, here is Dr. Oz. Now, I'm not sure when this was, what year. This is some sort of speech that he's giving to the National Governors Association. And I'm not sure why he's demeaning people who don't have health insurance, but he's doing it. Let's listen.
Now, when you go home today, what should you do? I think you ought to think about 15-minute physicals. Your local hospitals will fund these. They're incredibly inexpensive to run. You can screen thousands of people for almost nothing, and you allow a conversation to take place in more of a festival-like setting. It's not scary. And I mentioned earlier that almost everybody who comes to our 15-minute physicals has a job, but a lot don't have insurance. Give them a way of crawling back out of the abyss of darkness, of fear over not having the health they need, and give them an opportunity, because they don't have the right to health, but they have the right to access, a chance to get that health.
So is he saying in this clip, because I take that what he's saying is that people who don't have insurance don't have a right to health. So
That's what he said. He literally, they don't have a right to health, but they do have a right to access.
It's very strange. It's very strange, his take on health.
Also, like a festival-like setting, you're just going to go, like, okay, for anyone who has done a physical, there are a lot of things that go in, right? You're getting your weight, your temperature taken, they're inspecting other parts of your body. Doesn't seem that's really like a 15-minute thing to do.
Like a festive thing? And
not only that, but like what he's proposing is like he's setting up a bunch of goddamn tents in a parking lot, like it's some sort of festival-like setting.
Oh, that's what he means. So like people are gonna like come there and
they just walk in, walk out. But
but at a festival though, Gabe, you go to all these like these little trailers and these little tents where they have really shitty food. Like it's great.
Yeah.
They fucking taste awesome. It's all fucking fried. It's all greasy. I mean, you can't even. I mean, by the time you get done eating it, the napkin is just soaked in nasty.
Right.
But it's fantastic. Funnel cake, corn dogs, lemonade. Turkey legs.
Yeah, I mean, keep going. What else you got?
Right. I mean, cotton candy. I mean, you name it. Caramel corn. Kettle corn. I mean, you just keep going. All great stuff, by the way. All festive stuff. But is that what he's saying? Is we're supposed to?
The way that I take this right now is that he's talking about setting up tents in some open area, like some field or some parking lot. If he's talking about being near a hospital, right, in terms of proximity to a hospital and what they have available in resources. But the idea of what he's talking about reminds me of like a fire festival, right? Like it would be the fire festival of physicals is the way that I take it. Him describing, do you know what the fire festival is?
I've never been, but I've seen
no, there's no way that you could there's only happened once. It was a one and done. It was a failure. Do you remember
I could have went there.
Oh, you had all those thousands of dollars?
I did not, but it is a possibility that I could have.
Sure, yeah, you could have gone there and you could have gotten a simple
I didn't,
sandwich with a tomato lettuce on bread.
Right.
On
You're talking about the one that
the Ja Rule one.
Yeah,
the Ja Rule and the other guy that's
right.
a fraud.
Is it McFarlane? Is it?
No, it's
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix documentary.
Billy McFarlane. Yeah,
Billy McFarlane. Yeah. I could have went. I mean, I didn't go.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go to anything like that.
But the way that he describes in a festival-like setting,
that could be it.
It sounds like an absolute shit show based on what is involved with the physical and how many people are available. Not only that, the biggest thing when it comes to a physical is your goddamn privacy. To be in a room with a closed door so no one else can see what you're doing. It's a very vulnerable thing to do because you take off your clothes. Oh, hey, let me check this. Let me check that. I'm in a whatever.
Because the doctor's got to check you in certain places to make sure you're healthy everywhere, right?
The idea that you go in and out with the hospital gown, naked in a tent, or even without a gown, like he's like, oh, it's very inexpensive. It's quick to do.
Do they have porta potties at this 15-minute physical special thing at this festival? I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
Like a whole bank of them. You know what I'm talking about?
I get what you're talking about.
When you eat the funnel cake and you eat the fucking corn,
and they just
sometimes you gotta
through.
Right. Well, you got the beer tent and the beer garden and everything else. I mean, sometimes you gotta go.
It sounds like an absolute shit show. And I would say it's the fire festival of physicals.
Well, Dr. Oz is definitely a fucking bonehead this week. So thanks, Dr. Oz, for making the cut here. Let's go to our DM. Speaking of shit shows, Peter Navarro, your buddy Peter Navarro, dishonorable mention this week. Oh, my God, this fucking guy. I cannot believe this. Peter Navarro, I guess he filled in for Bannon yesterday because Bannon was, I don't know what was wrong. Was he sick? What happened? Why couldn't Steve Bannon do his show?
I think he was a little bit busy. He was traveling.
Oh, okay.
He was on the road. Walking. Yeah, he was walking. Busy walking. Couldn't be on the air. But I'm glad that Peter Navarro was so nice.
So you're saying you can't podcast when you're handcuffed? Is that what you're saying?
No. You can't podcast from jail either. So I am super excited that Donald Trump and all the other MAG Republicans are going to lose their megaphone that is Steve Bannon.
Well, Peter Navarro talks about that in this clip. That's why he is our dishonorable mention.
He's next on the list, by the way.
He is definitely not going to be podcasting for Steve Bannon very long.
Yeah.
They're going to need a new guest co-host.
I like the idea of them just handing off to the next person, and each person is getting arraigned or indicted or arrested and put in jail. And they're like, they just have a long list of people that are all frauds.
Right. Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to be a co-host, a guest host that's going to be arraigned. I mean, this is all going to happen. The real crime here is, where in the fuck is he placing himself on this green screen? Why would you choose this picture? Why?
Is this not the CDC?
Know. I have no idea what this is.
I'm not certain, but I feel like it's the CDC.
It's really fucking weird. Why wouldn't, if you were going to go anywhere you wanted to go, you'd think you'd go somewhere other than this business park or whatever the hell this is.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Let's listen to Bonehead Navarro here.
About it. I'm here today talking with you.
Yeah.
Because Stephen K. Bannon is the most powerful political voice right now in America.
No. He was. He's not. He's arrested. He's gonna go to jail. He was. You can't podcast from jail. But let's finish.
Okay. And they want to shut him up.
Yep.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah, it's about he committed crimes and he's gonna go to jail for those crimes.
Yeah.
Even if the former guy the former guy pardoned him from federal crimes.
Right.
He's not going to get away with the state crimes.
Yeah. And
Did you figure out where the hell this is at? Did you figure out where the hell this is
I don't know if it's CDC. I thought because
this is weird. It's almost like he's like, you know what? Just pick out the local business park. Give me a picture of that.
Well, it's definitely not in DC. I don't think so. I mean, like, look, there's like a mountain ridge in the background. If anyone in the chat knows this
where
background,
the hell this is at? Yeah,
because I've seen him use it when he's talked about Fauci before, and I don't know if those two are connected. So if he's like, oh, this is a building, this is a medical facility of some sort. I don't know.
It is really weird.
Like
it's really the high crime here. Is that the background that he's using? Maybe he didn't know what he was. He's standing in front of a green screen. Maybe whoever was doing
there's two types of backgrounds he does. One is he's got a day and night version of what looks like it looks like, I think it's a DC background. I think it's a DC background. Somebody hold on. Somebody said
in
the chat.
The chat knows.
They said Wuhan lab in China.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let me see.
Oh man, that kid, please tell me he didn't place himself in China. Let me see. While you're looking at it, this is where this is at.
It is.
Robert from YouTube.
It is correct.
You win the background award.
Boom.
Robert
this
Henry
is
right on it.
Wuhan lab in China.
Holy
See, I told
shit.
you. I told you. There's a reason why he brings it up when he talks about Fauci. And
okay, well let's listen to this clip because this almost gets better. This almost gets better. I don't know if it can get better, but let's listen.
In a blue stronghold, using lawfare to try to
what is lawfare? I'm not. Is he saying? Did he mean warfare? And then he's like, use the law. I think that's what he's saying. Is
I don't know.
I think sue the shit out of someone until you win.
I think Webster's dictionary needs to jump in and give a comment here on what lawfare is, or maybe like this.
I'm sure it's a word. I'm sure it's a word.
I wonder if it's like like Dr. Oz talked about a festival-like setting. This one is like a law fair. So you're there at a fair and you're like, hey, look, this law school and that law firm and this and that, and this right-wing nut job that's spreading conspiracy theories is the lawyer that works for Donald Trump named Alina Habba. Who knows?
Oh my God.
Who knows, Tony?
The best part about the other crime here is this little thing right here. It says Dr. Peter Navarro. Okay, let's continue.
Silence the man, Stephen K. Bannon, who has, through the force of his intellect, taken this show to the #1 podcast and show in politics in the world.
Okay, #1. That's such an atrocity. Why don't you folks do me a favor and spread around this show, the Tony Michaels podcast and Bonehead of the Week, so we can be #1, so these fucking idiots don't get to say this kind of shit, because really, honestly, maybe that's the highest crime here with what Navarro's saying. But
so I looked up lawfare, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. What's
lawfare is the use of legal systems and institutions to damage or delegitimize an opponent or to deter individuals' usage of their legal rights.
So he's saying lawfare on democracy is because he's projecting here. He's like, they're using lawfare to shut him up. No, he talks too much.
Right.
And he crimes too much.
Right.
Two things kind of different. Some of them are the same. But just because you talk too much doesn't mean they can't, hold you accountable for criming too much. That is a thing they can do, Peter Navarro. So if that's what you consider lawfare. So Peter Navarro is our dishonorable mention this week for Bonehead of the Week. Gabe, who ended up being our alpha cuck this week? Who got cucked?
Oh, boy.
Donald J. Trump as the alpha cuck.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
He was on it last week. And he came back and he was like
alpha cucked last week?
He got alpha cucked last week.
Oh my God. What was he alpha cucked? I don't even remember.
He got alpha cucked by the DOJ.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now I remember. He is
because he was like, hey, this is bullshit. And the DOJ was like, man, you don't want to keep doing this. We're just going to keep embarrassing you because you broke the fucking law.
And they embarrassed him this morning again too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, but they embarrassed the shit out of him. The
DOJ filed a response, right? Last night it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
DOJ filed a response and basically said he doesn't own these documents. Yeah. And really, honestly, the judge is getting cucked there too.
Yeah.
The judge is getting really cucked there too. But let's see why Donald Trump was alpha cucked this week. Whoa, hey, there we are. This is kind of weird.
This is Inception,
weird.
Dude. This is like,
woo. I am not wearing the same shirt. I just own a lot of black shirts. I promise.
Okay.
It's clean.
All right.
I'm not pulling a Steve Bannon.
I was just going to say that sounds like Steve Bannon.
One shirt, and I launder my shirts, not the money. Not the money. Okay. So here is the video of Rick Wilson absolutely turning Donald Trump into a cuck. And we went over this yesterday, but let's play it again. Can't wait. I would imagine that Rick is gonna challenge him here, but let's see what says you, Rick.
To just give Donald Trump a message, since you threatened to sue the Lincoln Project this morning, go for it, bitch. Come at me. I can't wait. We're delighted by the thought that you would try to sue us, Donald. Do it. I double dog dare you. When we put up the billboards in Times Square of Jared and Ivanka during the COVID crisis at the end of the 2020 campaign, we received this letter from Mark Kasowitz, Donald Trump's attorney, and it was this complete, blustering shit show. Oh, we will certainly sue you. We read it in the Bain voice, right? You're not going to sue anybody, Donald. You're not going to do shit. You're not going to do a goddamn thing. You are weak. You are impotent. You are flabby. You are sitting there in the bridal suite at Mar-a-Lago or in the bridal suite at Bedminster, grinding your gears, wondering why.
Fuck.
The Lincoln Project, no matter how many times you tried to kill us, keeps coming at you.
Oh my God! What sweet words from Rick Wilson? What sweet words?
I think the funniest there. A couple of funny moments there, but I think my favorite is I double dog dare you, which I don't hear very often these days.
Right.
Was a very popular thing to say as a kid, right? And I probably kids say it even now, but when you're challenging someone as an adult, nobody says I double dog dare you. And it just adds to the whole, the hilarious nature of this whole thing, which is Donald Trump thinks he can sue whoever he wants because they made something, again, practicing the freedom of speech, the First Amendment. And what they're saying is not untrue. It is completely 100% true. He grifted people from their money, took it, and then took advantage of a group. And hopefully now that they're exposing Donald Trump for the fraud and the criminal that he is, maybe they will turn around and say, shit, we should not be supporting this guy.
Because what you're talking about is the Lincoln Project ad. And we don't have time to play the ad here, but we did post this full react to not just the ad and Rick Wilson's video, but we showed the Donald Trump fraud social post over on our YouTube channel. So go subscribe to the Tony Michaels podcast. Subscribe right now. and you can go to our channel and see that portion of the show yesterday from how we reacted to not only the video of Rick Wilson, but also the Truth Social post and the ad that Lincoln Project that so pissed Donald Trump off and really got in his snowflake feelings and caused Rick to make this video.
But this type of response is, I believe there's a changing kind of attitude for people on the left, or even people in the center or on the right that are done with Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. But what I feel like is happening is people are fed up, right? But they're also seeing the way in which Democrats respond, which is, hey, everyone's entitled to be an idiot. They don't ever have, or they've never suffered from good manners, right? There's this constant calling out now of MAGA are a bunch of fascists. Their policies are terrible and detrimental to your livelihood and well-being. They don't have your well-being, into consideration. It's only for themselves and how they can profit. And so now you're seeing people be like, fuck this, man. Fuck you and fuck everything that you're doing right now because you are a terrible human and you don't represent me or anyone else that is supposed to be your constituents. And I think now there's a changing behavior and an attitude where people are just like, fuck it. I'm just going to call you fuckers out for the monster that you are. And everyone's like, yeah, this is great. We should do more of this.
Speaking of calling out monsters, it brings us to the bonehead of the week. Steve Bannon, our winner. Steve Bannon, because as you know, there is a great video of a sweet, sweet lady. And again, I want to send her flowers. So if I can figure out where to send them to, I'm going to send her some flowers here. Because she did this country a great service yesterday when she was standing there as Steve Bannon entered the courthouse to surrender himself to prosecutors for the 6 crimes they charged him with. The best part is he tried to play victim, but she wasn't having any of it. Let's watch this beautiful, beautiful.
I told you, footage. It's like a Hollywood premiere. Look at this.
It is. It's great.
Yeah. Coming? This is irony. On the very day the mayor of this city has a delegation down on the border, they're persecuting people here to try to stop on the border.
I don't know if you caught this, Gabe, but there's a lady who is being very loud in the background, and as Steve Bannon starts to speak, she's like, motherfucker, and she gets closer and closer and closer to drown him out. And the ending on this clip is just
people need to bring whistles, because this reminds me of when Steve Bannon tried to spread some bullshit after one of his court appearances, and there was the guy in DC, and there was the guy with the whistle, which I think might have been the same guy that blew the whistle at Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz last year and made them run away and back down after they said, "We will not back down." Boom, blow the whistle. Crazy powers this whistle has against fascists. It's amazing.
Woody Guthrie used to have a guitar, and on the guitar it said, "This machine kills fascists," and maybe a whistle with "This machine kills fascist" on it. Maybe we should put that somewhere. I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah. But let's watch how she kills fascist here and fascism as he's trying to spew it out his pie hole.
60 days from the day. 60 days from the day.
Take a step back.
60 days from the day.
Stop hurting America! Stop hurting America, you greasy grifter! Stop hurting America, you greasy 2-bit grifter!
You greasy 2-bit grifter. She is after my heart, Gabe. She is after my heart.
I have this image in my mind of people that are in the rotating door and they're catching like moments of it. They're like,
you mean like so they can't hear all of this?
Right. So they might catch like something that's faint or whatever, but as they're going through, like parts are be like, you too, you're like, you greasy, you a grifter, like, it's like
oh my God. Well, what a great piece of video. But Gabe, there was a piece of footage of Steve Bannon, the bonehead of the week, that was even better. I didn't know it could get even better because yesterday we watched that piece of footage on the show, but this other piece of footage hadn't happened yet. And I was like, I don't think this day can get any better, but it totally did. It got so much better with this little piece of footage. And it is Steve Bannon. And it appears that he's being perp walked. Let's take a look.
For every conservative American, this is what happens in the last days of a dying regime. They will never shut me up. They kill me first.
Oh, when you go to Rikers,
okay,
when he goes to Rikers, there's a very good chance that they'll shut him up or kill him at Rikers.
They
will.
My
God, they're not going to put up with his bullshit.
I have an idea that if he were to say shit, because I don't actually think he would, when he goes through and they're like, all right, cool, we got to do a cavity check, which I feel I have an immense amount of just predicting the immense amount of like sympathy for whoever has to do that check, right? Like
those are cavities you do not want to search.
No,
I'm
that
sure.
that is like that's like when you find like a beached like shark and you're like, hey, what the hell did this thing eat? And then it's like a license plate, some random plastic, some of this shit. That's what it's going to be.
There's no telling how many things that Steve Bannon has keistered and forgotten about. There's no telling how many.
Wearing 3 or 4 shirts and a jacket? Like, we don't know what's underneath those other black shirts.
Well, you don't. You have no idea. You have no idea. And he is a greasy grifter. I want to point out, though, and this is a great shot of this, though. This is going to be the iconic shot right here on the screen of Steve Bannon in a pair of handcuffs here as these marshals are taking him into the courtroom. But I want to point out something. They did all this on purpose.
Oh, yeah. They got the barricade there.
They got the fucking media barricade. They're like, no, we're going to walk him right down this hallway. Everyone's set up. We're going to do the perp walk. We're going to let America see this guy lose his fucking mind. And we're going to create a piece of content that's going to live in history forever and ever and ever. And my heart hopes, Gabe, that there is a moment when Donald Trump is finally held accountable, that they do the exact same thing to him that they did to Steve Bannon here. That's my hope.
I can't wait. I mean, like this right here, right now, because right now what's happening, they have the Venice Film Festival that I think might still be happening or just ended. I'm getting the same vibes as this. The only difference is they don't have a red carpet and a backdrop.
Right.
But they've got a barricade to be like, no, press and reporters, you're on this side. And the people who are premiering in this film are on this side. And Bannon's film is just called Fraud Asshole. I don't know what it's called.
Right.
Like
Treason Hunters.
Yeah.
Treason Hunter.
Treason
Hunters. It really, again, it warms my heart that Steve Bannon is being toted off to jail. And, here's the thing. He's being held accountable for crimes that we know he committed. And the reason why we know it is because Donald Trump pardoned him for these crimes federally. So in essence, he had to admit to these crimes by taking.
But we don't know what the crimes were, right? Because it was just like, look, we might have
pardoned
an idea.
him of the charges the indictment that they charged him with, right? And I think it was an exchange of him doing what he does every day, which is to try to overturn this country to give it back to Trump. That was the reason.
Exchange. I mean, Steve Bannon left the White House and left the administration as the advisor after, I think it was after Charleston, right?
It could be, yeah.
I think because it was that point when Steve Bannon said, okay, my young Padawan has learned. Because he was like, they were good people on both sides, misunderstanding. It's like, you're defending these Nazis? You're defending the people that came through the town. And we're like, or Charlottesville. Sorry, I said Charleston. But I think at that point it was shortly after Steve Bannon was like, okay, the young boy has grown up to be a man, a racist man.
Well, speaking of Padawans and Steve Bannon, here's one other good clip. Now, this is from Real America's Voice. It's the same News Network. And one of our favorite here's Boneheads, Charlie Kirk, whining and crying about Steve Bannon. Listen to this. This is beautiful. This is another piece of beautiful footage.
So, the priority is indicting.
He's so upset. Oh, my God. He's so upset, Gabe. Like, I haven't even started this clip, and tears are coming to my eyes because he's so upset.
Steve Bannon. It's a term we've used quite often here on this program. Anarcho-tyranny. Anarchy on the streets, tyranny against the political dissidents.
Anarchy in the streets, tyranny in the sheets.
Is that where he's getting this from? That's exactly what I thought he was gonna say.
Whenever someone says something in the streets, then I think something in the sheets.
In the sheets.
Right.
Oh,
we should make a shirt that says anarchy in the streets, tyranny in the sheets.
Mark it down. We're gonna make a t-shirt. Everyone, you heard that. We're gonna do a t-shirt design of anarchy and tyranny in the sheets. Let's listen.
They will use political force and power to lock up conservatives, but thugs, criminals, child predators, pedophiles, arsonists, murderers, no bail. But if you dare speak out in favor of Donald Trump, we will raid your home.
No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works.
This is hilarious. I love his silly little freak
which is funny because I almost use an exact same line in this new upcoming What Was That? Which is I say, if you go against or you speak out against Trump and the MAGA fascists, then you are an enemy of the state, because that's the same language that Trump was using during that Pennsylvania rally, where he was like, you're an enemy of the state, obviously, saying it in a joking manner, but then saying in a serious way, Joe Biden is the enemy of the state, which is like, also, are we going to ignore that the guy's being investigated for espionage? Like he violated the Espionage Act. Nothing screams enemy of the state more than fucking treason.
Well, I mean, they are treasonous pieces of shit. And let's give our bonehead of the week, or treasonous piece of shit of the week, his due. Steve Bannon, you won bonehead of the week. Thanks, buddy, for being on the bonehead of the week. Let's give him his due. Oh, Scabby Steve, bonehead of the week.
Boom, boom.
Oh, my God.
SB Steve Bannon, SB Scabby Bonehead.
Scabby Bonehead Steve Bannon. Thanks for coming to this segment of Bonehead of the Week. Make sure every single Friday you join us on the Tony Michaels podcast and the MeidasTouch Network for Bonehead of the Week. Subscribe to the Tony Michaels podcast. Do not forget, because we do a show every single weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and we simulcast to the MeidasTouch Facebook page. Also, don't forget to subscribe here. If you're watching on the MeidasTouch Network, subscribe here now, because you're probably watching on a replay on Friday nights, because we do that every single week now. Also, follow us at Tony Michaels Pod so you can vote on Bonehead of the Week on the poll, because you vote, you decide, we break it down every single Friday in the second hour of the Tony Michaels podcast. And don't forget to download every single episode on Apple, Spotify, and Google. It was a great week for Boneheads. We had some great contestants.
I mean, democracy and justice really coming through in the 11th hour here.
I know.
But everyone's wondering what's going on.
The MAGA Ultra Bonehead King, he came out front. It was close, but he came out front.
I mean, when it was started, there was a moment where you sent me a screenshot and you're like, oh boy, Oz is beating Bannon.
How is this possible? He is a fucking bonehead, though. But Bannon, he really pulled it out like I knew he would. I knew he would be our bonehead of the week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Stick around if you're on the Tony Michaels podcast. We have a few announcements right after the song. Stick around. Thanks for joining us. Bonehead of the week.